And we are live. Happy Saturday, I guess. Yeah. We're getting there. Saturday, every Saturday, 11 a.m. Coffee and crypto. Here we are. We made it, boys. We didn't really make it, did we? No. Bitcoin is sitting at 31,683. It's a bit of a red day today, of course. We've been kind of going through this trend, and I recognize that this is pretty stressful for a lot of people. But the one big thing to remember is consistently, when we get down this low, it is a buying signal, not a selling signal. You should absolutely be looking long-term for something like this. And also, if you're still bullish on the market cycle completing, and it most certainly will complete, then buying under the 50-week SMA is going to be a really, really good decision for you. But I know generally it's not always easy for a lot of people to get past that mental barrier. But just remember that most times that we've been below the 50-week, we've popped right out in short order. And the further we go down for Bitcoin, the more bullish I'm going to get that there is going to be that massive spike. At this point, sure, we could definitely see a sub 30K Bitcoin. I even think that we could see somewhere in the 25K zone. It's very possible that we can see that low of a Bitcoin. But right now, there is a lot of buying pressure as well, because the smart money recognizes where Bitcoin's going to go in the or in the long term, but also the near term in terms of like just weeks or in terms of months to years. We're going to see a good return on our investment, especially at this rate. So I can't see Bitcoin really tanking too far. So I don't think people should be ultra worried about what's happening for Bitcoin currently. But if we do look at some news, so we'll switch to some news and then we'll go back to TA and then we'll take some questions. Of course, we have Discord call-ins today, so in the description there is going to be a Discord link if you want to jump in there and just sit in the waiting room, the voice waiting room, and I will pull you into essentially a private room. But into some news, Harmony One announces their $1 million hackathon aimed at merging traditional finance and DeFi. Of course, Harmony One is an amazing project. I really like to see what comes out of this hackathon. I'm pretty bullish on the system, so I'd be interested to see if there are any interesting breaks or people able to take advantage of the network in any way. So it'll be interesting to see those develop. But at this point, Harmony One is a very good project, and I'm sure it's going to do well. I'd probably say right now is buying times for a lot of those altcoins. But also, if you focus funds on Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of the top players, that's going to net you a good return as well, because the prices are so low. So I'm not super buying a lot of like ultra low altcoins, but I am tossing a little bit of money there when I can. Right now I'm just focusing on DeFi, Polkadot, Ethereum, that kind of stuff. Cardano is growing closer to their mainnet launch, so with smart contracts, and this is referencing to Alonzo. Alonzo is moving over to Alonzo White, so they moved over to the Alonzo White node that we discussed earlier in the week, and now one step closer to having their smart contracts on the system. I know it's been a long time for Cardano. Take a look at ADA on the chart. I'm sure we'll talk about ADA a couple of times today. But if you look at ADA on the chart, $1.16 right now. Now, it did hold pretty well before. And I would still say that we're not really like not holding well now. But of course, Cardano has been on a steady downcline for the last couple of days. So it's been a pretty rough ride for Cardano, but it's held still a lot of value up here. Because if you look at most cryptocurrencies like Ethereum or even any others, I think Ethereum is one of the exceptions as well. But Cardano is holding one of the earliest all-time highs or high numbers. We can see here that Cardano was at this price back in May. So it's holding roughly its May price. But once it goes down further, obviously, we could see a little bit of a tumble for Cardano. But of course, I'm bullish on where Cardano is going to go in the long term. So I would never say not to buy Cardano, especially sub $1. So if we do see ADA sub $1, I would say buy it. Now, could we see something low? I'd say if Bitcoin drops to like $26,000, we could see Cardano go to like 85, somewhere around there. So good buying points. But again, if it does go down that low, I don't think it's going to be down there for a while. So Let's see. And in Bitcoin news, and we'll switch over to this a little bit. So Bank of America is reportedly approving Bitcoin trading futures. Now this is because of, just think about how much money Binance has gotten with trading futures. So going leverage and trading on Bitcoin futures. That's a lot of money. A lot of people got liquidated on Bitcoin. Binance has raked in tons of money even through this dip. And I don't think Bank of America sees that and is just like, yeah, I want Binance to just have all the profits. Obviously, Bank of America wants the piece of the pie. And I think this is just another signal that, hey, Bitcoin is heading to mainstream. Eventually, we're going to get there. And of course, Bank of America, it just wants a piece of that future trading. Because, why wouldn't you? That's a lot of money. But of course, banks are going to further pile on into Bitcoin trading, holding Bitcoin, providing it in ETFs and everything else. So we're getting there. It's just a matter of when we're exactly going to get there. Now, we see a negative Bitcoin sentiment on Twitter, and it may lead to a price upswing. Now, why is this? When we get so bearish, and I think Benjamin Cohen was saying this earlier today or yesterday possibly, that when you get so bearish in the general space, that everyone's so bearish, that's usually a signal that it's going to go up. And again, get fearful when people are greedy and get greedy when people are fearful. It's that exact same thing. So yes, when Bitcoin does drop into these ultra low levels, yes, that is the time that you buy. That is the dip that you exactly buy. You're never going to get the exact bottom, and you're never going to sell the exact top unless you DCA. So I just make sure that you're taking advantage of what's going to happen if it does happen, and go through there. But it will quickly bounce back up, and we will recover fairly nicely. But I don't think we'll be seeing 100K Bitcoin anytime soon. Possibly in the new year, but I don't think for the remainder of this year. Tim Draper says stands by a $250 Bitcoin and says it's a modern inflation hedge. And I just wanted to talk about inflation really quick and the United States dollar. With specifically the United States dollar, we've printed more US dollar than we ever have in such a short period of time. And I understand with the global situation that's happening, the need to print was probably relevant for some people to go through. But we've talked on this channel before about things like Jerome Powell and how the impact of printing money, what that impact is on a country and on an economy. And most certainly it's not good. It absolutely isn't. Now, we don't know how much money is being printed anymore in terms of the United States dollar. We have no idea of the true number. And at this point, it's going to get to a level that is not going to be able to be managed by the U.S. government and by the central or the global financial system, so the IMF and everyone else. We're going to go through a pretty bad time with the United States dollar, and I truly believe that the U.S. dollar is actually on a death march right now. I don't see the U.S. dollar really recovering. That being said, even though the U.S. dollar is in such a state that it is, we have the DXY up. Now, this is also another contributor to why Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is also going down. When the dollar index goes up, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies value goes down, right? Because it's down against the dollar. That's how we base these cryptocurrencies. So, of course, we're getting extra pressure from the DXY, bringing Bitcoin down. This is scaring people, shaking people out. It's going to get down to possibly new lows and then bounce back up. Now, how high it'll go, I'm not sure, but I think at that point we can have a bullish sounding. If it goes down to, say, 25K, we can probably fairly estimate that if we buy Bitcoin at this level, that's exactly when we're going to see an upswing. So it might not be ultra high, but it'll be fairly immediate. And this is kind of what I said in, I think, the Wednesday video. There's going to be a lot of, there's going to be a lot of volatility both ways. So Again, if anyone wants to ask a question, go ahead and drop in on Discord. It's in the description down below. If you drop in and sit in the waiting room, I'll pull you into my channel and you can ask your question. Last, and we've discussed this before, the stock to flow signals a great time to buy for Bitcoin. And again, this is just what I've been saying this entire time, that it's never been a better time to buy Bitcoin. Of course, everyone was buying up here, but I don't hear about anyone buying down here. And this is exactly the time to buy. You're basically getting a window to kind of get a low price before the bull market re-engages. And like we've talked about before with lengthening market cycles and everything else, most likely we'll see the market cycle re-engage itself to a bullish trend when we hit 2020. So it could be a couple of months in this way. We could hit this bullish trend sometime in November or December near the winter, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But even in 2022, I have mentioned too that we could even see all the way up until June of a very like sideways action kind of level. But at this point, we do see Bitcoin really making that decision of whether it's going to go up or going to go down. So Bitcoin is coming up to that area that it's going to have to make up, but when it comes down to it in the short term, I don't look at the short term generally, or I don't like to look at the short term because I'm more of a long-term macro guy anyway. So I know where Bitcoin's going. I know where it's all going. So that's all I need. We've talked about Ethereum too, and I'm just going to bring this up as well. So Ethereum's at 1,876. So still a good price for Ethereum. And yeah, that's holding back up to the April highs. So when it was in April or around April, February. So it's lost a little bit of value, but it's still at a good price. I'd say once Ethereum hits 1,700, that's probably a really good buying zone for Ethereum. But it's a pretty active buy right now as well. We've talked about KSM, and I'm going to bring DOT into the mix as well because DOT's sitting at $12. Oh man, DOT is sitting at a low of January, so a January low for Polkadot. Of course, it's brutal to see, but at the same time, I know exactly where Polkadot is trying to go. I'm super bullish on the system. I love Substrate. I think it's amazing what Polkadot is doing, what the ecosystem is doing, PolkaSwap and everything else. So I would say absolutely $12 for a Polkadot is an absolute steal right now. But again, everything could go lower depending on how Bitcoin goes. But KSM is sitting at $177. And that's back to its February 14th low. So still some low prices here. I see 9 people in the stream, 10 people in the stream, but I don't see anyone in chat. Can you guys even type in chat? Is there an issue there with chat? And again, if you guys want to ask a question at all for in general with cryptocurrency, just go ahead and join the Discord in the description. Join into the waiting room, and I will move you into this room when we were ready. Now, in terms of like long term, where Bitcoin's going to go, I guess let's just mention that because always it's been a good idea to look at the 50-week as a good buying indicator. And yes, we can go like really low below the 50-week. For example, after 2017, there was this just brutal dip that everyone went through, and that scared a lot of people, shaked a lot of people out. But when you look at the prices here, like Bitcoin's at like $3,000, $3,800, this is the time to buy, right? Imagine being able to buy a Bitcoin at that level. So anytime it's dropped below that point. Nice. Shiba swaps. Awesome, dude. Yeah, I know you've been talking about that. I gotta, maybe I'll dabble. I think we just stopped there for a minute, but I think we're good there. Anyway, what I'm saying in terms of the 50-week, when you get below the 50-week, you're almost guaranteed to come back up eventually, and you're going to do well, right? These are good buying zones. So anytime we're bouncing on the 50-week, going below the 50-week, that is exactly the time to buy. So it's been a good strategy before. I think it's going to be a good strategy now, and I think, you know, maybe 250k Bitcoin by the end of this market cycle isn't really as realistic as I would think it is, but maybe 150k is probably more realistic and probably a good target. So imagine being able to buy Bitcoin at $26,000, and then, you know, a year from now, or a year and a half from now, even we could see a Bitcoin at 150k plus. So that's the power of buying at the 50-week. So of course, a lot of people don't like buying at the zone, but that is exactly what it's going to need to take sometimes to actually pick up some bags and make sure that you actually have some when it comes to going to the end of the bull market. But in terms of like some other altcoins, so we'll take a look at where are we? Oh yeah, Jim Cramer and his extra pickles. We'll take a look here at CoinGecko, and then maybe we will do some Polkaswap updates, DeFi updates, and everything else. We'll see how it goes. Go ahead. Also, if you guys want to ask any questions, just join the Discord. It's in the description down below. Join that Discord and jump into the waiting room. And just make sure that you have some sort of headset or your speakers aren't too loud and we're not getting much feedback. But you can come in and ask any question. So the crypto market is currently sitting at $1.3 trillion. So it hasn't really moved all that much, even though it is down a little bit. But it's been bouncing around 1.3 to 1.4 for the last little while. So even though Bitcoin is dropping, it still tells me that there's still money staying in the system. But Bitcoin is currently at a $594 billion market cap. So fairly low market cap right now at 31.69.4. Ethereum at 1,883. Binance is at $300, almost even. Cardano sitting at 117. XRP sitting at 58 cents. Dogecoin at 17 cents. Polkadot at 12. So again, Polkadot at these levels a really, really good time to buy. No worries, Journey. How's it going? NFTs went nuts this week. I think with NFTs, it's great technology, and I think it's going to do well. I don't know that I saw much this week in terms of like what the prices were. I'm not really like that close into the NFT market. However, there was a lot of news articles about NFTs and everything else. So that was really great to see. I think it's going to be a good market no matter what when we have NFTs. We do have somebody in the waiting room though, so we're gonna bring them in here and get a quick question in. So let's pull them in. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good morning. I got a delay on the YouTube here. I better turn it off.
Yeah. Just turn that off. Hopefully everyone can hear. Hold on, let me just check my. Can you say something really quick?
Say something really quick.
Beautiful. Okay, I got you. You got a question, buddy?
Yeah, sure. It might be a little controversial, but well, for some people. But where do you see the XRP ledger 20 years from now?
So I actually talked about this on a live stream with Tim and Nancy Danter. They do Crypto Night in Canada every Wednesday, and I discussed exactly why I am bullish on XRP. One big reason is because of Ripple. They're legislating with the IMF and other countries, working to make it legislatively compliant. You have the XRP ledger that holds a TPS of, something that rivals maybe Visa or MasterCard, something that could directly onboard legacy financial systems, so like stock exchanges with high transaction rates on the RPL with the Ripple ledger. And on top of all of it, we have your RippleNet, which exchanges the XRP through any kind of currency or value. It's really an exchange of value, not so much an exchange of currency. So it's a way to move value from one place to another. It doesn't have to be a United States dollar, for example. On top of that, what the Flare team is doing, bringing in DeFi services, smart contracts, and everything else, which smart contracts even came from Stefan Thomas, the old CTO of XRP. There's a lot of history with XRP and a lot of ties to some creators of Bitcoin that were identified. David Chaum is one of them. But I think overall where XRP is going to go is going to basically onboard the legacy financial system. So I do see it as being a big player, different than Bitcoin or anything else. But it's not going to fundamentally do the same thing as Bitcoin. It is just going to be a transfer of money throughout the world, and just like super quick transfers. I think it's going to do very well in 11, 10, 15 years. I think that's a very good time frame to hold XRP and think about it that way. And generally, if something hasn't disappeared in 10 years, it most likely won't disappear. And I think people need to kind of recognize that.
Yeah, it's definitely been around for solid 8 years now. It's actually 2012, right?
Yep. So we're coming up to essentially 10 years. And if you think about it, we have Bitcoin. That same thing. Everyone said that Bitcoin's a Ponzi. Bitcoin's nothing. Bitcoin's going to nothing. It's based on nothing. Here you are with XRP. It's just as scarce. Of course, Ripple isn't printing new XRP every time it's coming out of escrow. It's a completely already printed at inception. So they're not dumping on the community as well. What happens is they're putting XRP through OTC and through specific corridors like the Mexican and the US corridor to provide liquidity in those areas. But recently, actually, the last couple of escrow releases have been tagged on directly all right to the end of the escrow. You could I could probably see something like the escrow being given to, say, a government body. Now, of course, not a lot of people like that, but hey, when we're talking about the legacy financial system, nobody likes the legacy financial system, but it's still going to need a home in the new blockchain future. So I think XRP will most likely be it.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? There's I know that the crypto space is very tribal. Why do you think there is so much misinformation about XRP and the XRPL?
I think a lot of it is just tribalism in general. Like you think about stuff with Bitcoin or Cardano for a little while. These aren't bad projects, but I think people see their projects and think there can never be anything else, and then they kind of lash out at any other project that stands up near them, and almost like, no, you can't be what you say to be because I'm going to be doing that. So I think there's a lot of defensiveness when people aren't recognizing that this is a multi-blockchain world. XRP can have just as well of a life in anything else. On top of that, on the same token, XRP has like a bunch of conspiracy theories around it, right? So there's a lot of just weird stuff around XRP, people like making up like $10,000 XRP and all this nonsense. It just, people need to be based more in reality and not be so ludicrous with some of their predictions of what they say. And there's the whole riddles and everything else that really makes people like feel iffy about XRP. So I think all of that combined kind of just really ruins the idea of XRP. Plus, people don't like the banks, so.
I agree with the riddle thing. The $10,000 XRP when the all-time high, I think it's close to $4, and we haven't even seen that this cycle. One more question before I let you go. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the Flare networks tying into to all this?
I think what Flare Networks is doing. So we know that back when Vitalik Buterin was staying on Stefan Thomas's couch, essentially just living with him for a short period of time, that's when he was inspired to do smart contracts. A lot of people say that idea actually came from Stefan Thomas, or at least he helped facilitate that idea. So that is being implemented within the Flare system, which is essentially going to be bringing smart contracts to the Ripple ledger, which is going to be incredibly bullish when we talk about a lot of the DeFi stuff that we've been doing. Like we've been working with Polkadot, we've been working with Pancake Swap and all these other dexes. But when we get something like a Flare dex, coming out at basically near to zero fees, quick completion times. I think it's going to blow the water with a lot of services out today. So now I don't know exactly how that's going to work with an ETH 2.0 world, but I'm still very bullish on the space. But I'm also not thinking about Flare as the end game for XRP. Obviously, there's a lot of different facets to how XRP is going to generate more money into the system. But one big thing about Flare is it really gives the capability to start onboarding things like futures and other options on a decentralized network run through Flare that could easily handle the TPS that's needed at that level. So with that amount of users, I think Flare could be a big deal. But in the interim, it's just going to be a good place to earn a yield and provide liquidity. So I'm probably going to be using it as soon as it's come out. I have a decent amount of Spark tokens as well, so...
Yeah, for sure. Definitely looking forward to it as well. Okay, man. Well, appreciate your time. Thanks for the questions. I'll let you get on to someone else, and I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks for the questions, man.
Sure.
Okay. So again, you can go onto the description down below, jump into Discord, hop into the waiting room. If you want to ask a question, what my opinion is on a token or whatever it is, just go ahead and do that. We'll be taking calls all hour. So going back in the chat, how's it going, Journey? Do I day trade? I used to do some longing and some shorting. I don't right now. Everything's just too volatile, and I got wrecked a couple of times, and it's just like short term isn't worth it. I'm a long term holder anyway. Okay, everyone's hearing good. I'm glad that call went good. Yeah, it's a good price to get into. So if we talk about XRP, I mean, 58 cents. I entered. Now, here's the thing. I entered XRP at a good price, right? I entered XRP at around 18 cents and bought up all the way to 23 cents, or even like a little bit higher. But my dollar cost average for XRP is about 23 cents. So putting that into mind, I'm up, but I'm not up a lot at this point. I'm way up more on my Bitcoin holdings than my XRP holdings, but the reason why I don't care as much is because I know exactly where XRP is going to go. So I'm not all that worried, but at the end of the day, it kind of is what it is. So I remember when Ripple came out before. Yeah, so it's hard, right? Because actually, if you think about the history from XRP, it started out as OpenCoin, inspired by David Chaum. Then they changed to Ripple, and then they had this argument with this guy who owned a company called Ripple, so they had to like buy the name off him or something, work out some sort of deal, and eventually bought the company Ripple, changed the Ripple token to XRP, and that's the story. So it was definitely the token that came before the company. So, and that's one of their basic arguments to the lawsuit in the SEC is that the XRP was created before the company, but the people who created XRP created the company, so that didn't really fly. But they are looking good in terms of the court case. So I don't think they're going to have any problems in terms of winning or anything like that. Hey, how's it going, Josh? How are you? Going back up to Bitcoin for now, we are dropping right now at 31,661. And again, I think if we do go below that 50 week, I think it's going to be a great time to buy. Well, it's a great time to buy now, but anything below this level, because we see below here and below here, both times we skyrocketed both times. So the further down we go, the more bullish we're going to get, because the higher we're going to rebound. No worries, Gary. How's it going? How's it going? Yeah. How's the market looking? The market's looking okay. So here's the thing. It depends on people's perspective, right? Because I think the market's looking great. The lower it goes, the more bullish I get, right? Because the lower my buying point. Now here's the thing. It's hard for me to buy Bitcoin. It's hard because I was buying Bitcoin, like the lowest I bought Bitcoin for was around like 4K, somewhere around this zone, 3K, 4K, somewhere here. Because I got in January essentially. And when the March dip happened, that's when I started buying, a decent amount. Now at this point, we're getting back to what I experienced, right? So we hit this 50 week, we went down below that 50 week, and you know, I bought there, and everyone's like, "Oh, you're so lucky that you bought there. You're so lucky." Well, we have another shot right here, right? Here it is. Here it is. Right here, guys. We're gonna go down, right? So a lot of people would say that this market doesn't look healthy. I would say that it's looking pretty bullish to me, but just another rainy day. That's for damn sure. Holy, I can't even go for a bike ride today. I'm probably gonna go to the nursery, pick up a plant for the back here. Maybe go get some shelves and everything. Got to decorate the back, right? Channel needs a little refresh, a little upping, and get this going. Have about 2K to throw in the market, but where? That's a hard thing to answer. Now, I would probably say I'd look at your portfolio now, right? Assuming that you have a lot of Bitcoin, I'd probably say maybe get some Cardano, get some Ethereum, and some Polkadot too at a really good price. I'd probably say that, because right now, like, a lot of people are shilling a lot of altcoins, a lot of low caps and everything else. But right now I'm focused more on the big cap tokens that are at a super discount, because we haven't seen these prices in a long time. So we might as well take advantage of them and add into our Cardano bags, our ETH bags, our Polkadot bags, because we know that these projects are going to do something in the future. Of course, like Harmony One's going to do something in the future as well. And even like something like VeChain is going to do well, but even VeChain's held a good amount of value compared to what Polkadot has lost, right? So you're getting a good discount on some of the bigger caps, so I'd probably say focus on those personally, but that's just me. I know a lot of people don't really like that, but I'm not shilling their favorite altcoin, but Bitcoin and those coins are probably your best bets, and if you want a little bit more risk, go down to the alts. Well, that's what I would say in general. Now, again, like once everything booms up again, then I'll shift my perspective back onto alts. But I've been dollar cost averaging Bitcoin. I've been dollar cost averaging Ethereum. I've been buying Cardano, Polkadot, and KSM when I can. So these are all things that I've been adding to my bag as the market falls, and I'm going to keep doing it until the market rebounds. And if we get super low, then at that point I'll probably throw a little bit more money in. But now we did actually see an issue, actually. So I'll actually go find this in my news website. So let me just see here. Bondly, a token that was on the BSC, had a dramatic issue. So let's see. I don't know if we have the search. Okay, so effective immediately. Yeah. So something happened with Bondly. What I understand is the system was compromised. So I don't know exactly like the specifics. Now, if you were on the BSC over the last little while, you would notice that the Bondly BNB pair went way up in the farms. So when you go to the farms here, and you'd search up your APRs, your top APRs, you'd see Bondly right here with like a 600 APR. And of course, that means that people are rushing their money out of that token pair. So when you are seeing something at a high APY, you do have to just have a little bit of speculation. Okay, what's going on here? Why is it like this? Because chances are you don't exactly want to get into it because of that, especially if it's a token that's been around. But I'm not sure exactly of the breach. They also say something here about the CEO, something about the CEO. Effective immediately, Bondly CEO or co-founder Harry Liu will resume the role. Okay. I see. So it looks like Brandon Smith, one of the guys, is on temporary vacation leave of absence. I don't know what happened. Maybe like a possible rug pull, but down with Matic. Yeah, Matic is really good. So we'll actually talk about Matic here. Let me actually pull up my Define while we talk about that. So Matic is doing really well, and the reason why it's doing really well is because it offers cheap fees on Ethereum, bringing so much value to Ethereum. and to itself, obviously. Now, where can Matic go? And like people say, the ETH 2.0 or even EIP 1559 is going to ruin Matic. I don't think that. Vitalik Buterin doesn't think that. It doesn't make any sense because really, ETH 2.0 would just make Matic that much better, right? It would upgrade on both ends. So I don't see it making Matic obsolete in any way. I think Matic would just enhance the system in a way. So I'm not worried. I'm not worried about where it's going to go. So I am still funneling money. So on top of those main tokens that I'm putting money into, I'm obviously putting money into my my DeFi portfolios on the side. So I'm not looking at it as my normal hodl bags or anything like that. I'm not. You know. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say there. But I just look at them differently, right? Like I don't think of them as the same type of savings, right? So I add to them separately in terms of what I do. So when I buy crypto, I put more into my hodl bags, and then I put some of it into DeFi and just keep building up my my DeFi bags. So right now I'm in a DeFi Matic pool. That's basically it for here. But obviously there are some other good token pairs like Luna DeFi, and you know a few others. I'm also in PancakeSwap, of course, and then obviously I have a decent amount in Polkaswap. Obviously the value isn't much anymore. I think one of my first times that I put in money to Polkaswap, it was nearly like $7,000, and now it's nowhere near $7,000. But that's okay because I know where it's going to go. You compare Matic on Shiba Swap. Oh, hey, wow. Just saying, Gary. Great White Vapor coming in with the Shiba Swap shill. Nice. Good job, man. I appreciate that. That's awesome. You know what? Maybe I'll check it out. I'm going to check it out just for your sake, okay? And I'll come to next Wednesday and we'll discuss, I promise. Do you think Matic will hold its spot? Yeah, I think it's going to hold the spot on top of layer 2. I mean, unless some other better innovation comes out, right? I could see something like I've been looking into Decentraland lately. I don't know if you guys have been like keeping up on this. Like, I don't know. Okay, maybe I'm just a nerd. Maybe that's just it. But this is cool as hell, right? It is literally a VR area. You can go and buy land, purchase land with Mana or ETH. And it's just, yeah, I don't know how to describe it. For whatever reason, my nerd senses are tingling and I want it. So I might also be investing in something like this. But like if like I'm just like giving out the realm of possibilities here. Other projects can come around to overtake Matic, right? But it doesn't mean Matic's gonna do well. Maybe it won't be number one forever if something cooler comes out, something that does more or whatever. But for now, I think Matic is going to hold the spot for a good long while until something is out. But honestly, guys, I know it sounds weird, but virtual land, you know what I mean? I kind of want it. Not gonna lie, kind of want it. So, couple $100, own a nice little piece. I can't buy real land in the real world because everything's too expensive. So might as well buy some virtual one. Right? That's what I'm thinking. But it's just a cool idea. So who knows? Maybe we'll buy a piece of land, put some Haas Hodl stuff on there, and have some VR hangouts in the future. It'll be Ready Player One VR style with crypto land. If you guys want to ask a question at all, you can go ahead and join the Discord. The Discord link is in the description down below. Jump into the waiting room and I'll move you in. But of course you can ask questions in chat as well if you want to. 16 acres sold for under $1 million on there. I think it depends on where you're buying the property, right? So okay, I'm gonna nerd out. Sorry guys, I'm gonna nerd out like the stream and everything. But here we go. We're nerding out. Okay, so there are a couple of different pieces of land that you can buy. You can buy a land by a road. You can buy a land by a main road. You can buy a land out in nowhere, and that's where you're gonna get the variable of your prices. So if you buy, say, land in like a more populated zone, for example, the price is gonna be higher, right? You see this piece of land just right on the main road. In a decent area, it's going to be 25,000 mana, which is a lot. Like some of this land is very, very expensive. There is like the Matic building, which I'm sure is like super expensive. And hold on, let's go even by price. Oh, it goes by cheapest. Well, let's go to that and go to the last. So it's all about where you're buying it, right? So like you see all this cheap stuff, right? It's all the way on the outskirts of everything. It's not really like close up to any big sectors. But when you go to more the bottom, and I don't think I'm going to see the top selling, but here, let's see if there's any better sorting here. Newest, I guess we'll go recently listed. Just sit on there. But it's I don't know. It's just a cool idea. When you look at like what is like how Decentraland actually works. Like here, we'll head into it really quick. I'll actually load up the game so you can kind of get an idea. Start exploring. And this is all based on your browser. It's all based on your MetaMask. So I'll switch here from, because I'm just sitting on the wrong network. So switch, go to Ethereum mainnet. So anytime you get that kind of error, all that is just waiting for the mainnet. Now, if you think of like some of those VR games that people are playing, something went wrong. Okay. Well, I don't know why that's not working, but I was on there earlier. It's basically like a virtual world. Go around, talk to people, but people can put up their houses. Companies are putting up their houses, like the Matic building. There's like some stadiums and everything else, but people are taking it fairly seriously. So I don't know. I watched a couple of videos. I'm pretty intrigued, but you know, maybe mana is where I enter. Oh, and there we go. So this is literally it. So you can just go through, explore what people have built all through the world, and that's basically it. And the real estate is super expensive. This is all VR capable, if I'm right. But you'll go through, like, I'm sure property out here would be like super expensive, like something like this, for example, probably go for like a couple million mana or something. So interesting stuff, I think. I'm just saying, just pointing that out there. You know what I mean? I think it's cool, but I'm a big nerd, so you know. Yeah, I wouldn't say The Sims, more like what's the VR game, the virtual reality game that people just like make characters in. A bunch of memes came from that, right? It's basically like a bunch of people can, you know, be around, talk to you and everything else. You can have your VR headset and everything. I don't know. I think it'd be cool. This has been out since I think 2018, and they've been making enhancements to it, so it's not gone away. I think, I don't know. I'm a big nerd, but is there other people? Yeah, there's other people. I just don't know, you know, where they're all located. I just got into this recently, but if you look at like the map, like this is the map. So we're in Genesis Plaza, like where you should drop. And all this property here is all property, right? These are all parcels that people own. You know, so this is just. It's a little crazy seeing exactly like this and how this works and how, okay, like we have all these parcels, people can buy these parcels, put up their own buildings on these parcels so they can promote like whatever they're doing. It just to me it seems really cool to have something like this. But I don't think, you know, this is the end all be all, sure, but I don't know, a good VR game. Kind of bringing in what like Ready Player One does in the book and the movie. I think that'd be really cool for cryptocurrency and blockchain. And I think this is where we're going to go. Maybe this is just a peak in future games. But here you go. We can kind of see some player created stuff here. So you see some guys' YouTube even like pops up and to register. And you can see like parcels that haven't loaded. There we go. So like people are just building this stuff here. They're buying this land and they're building on top of it. You see here that you have a mall, right? We have Horizon, Coinbase, we have Carbon, Ripple up there, Boost, Daper, right? Tim Daper, or is that probably not the same? Brave, for example. So like all of these are buying real estate or renting property, right? People can also rent out property. It's cool. It's cool. Maybe I'm a little nerdy. You don't have to, you know, agree with me on this one. But I think it's cool, and my mom thinks I'm cool, and that's all that's important. Okay, so you know what, man? There probably already is a Shiba Stadium, but hey, I am going to invest one day in a piece of land. We're gonna have a Haas Hodls little chunk in Decentraland, and that's what's gonna happen. So, but I don't know. Cool things like that are gonna do well. But I think I got on a tangent there talking about layer 2 with Matic, and this isn't even Ethereum. But you know, oh, it is. It is an Ethereum chain. But either way. All right, let's see. And even if we look at the mana, and we'll get a good one here, Coinbase. If we look at the mana chart, we'll go to 4 hour. Makes more sense looking at a 4 hour. We've seen mana just do kind of a slide since our trading data. I think this is since Coinbase listed. So of course they haven't listed for a while, but we have been on that gradual dip. Now, if we do see Bitcoin go below, we could see that drop further, right? Obviously. So, you know, is it a time to get into some of those altcoins? And like I said, you know, throughout this live stream, I'm still buying Bitcoin. I'm still buying Ethereum. So as bullish as I am on all these altcoins, as many altcoins as I want to buy, you know, there's still Bitcoin to buy, and there's still Polkadot, there's still Ethereum, there's still Cardano. So, but it is about spreading it out, having a balance. For sure. But running through the news, because I know some people came in a little bit late, Harmony One is announcing a $1 million hackathon aimed at merging traditional finance and DeFi. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of that hackathon specifically. We've talked about Cardano, and we'll bring up the chart for Cardano as well, talk about Cardano long term. But Cardano is launching or went over to Alonzo White in terms of the from the testnet to the hard fork of White. So this is just one step closer to getting smart contracts on Cardano, and we're going to see things like Sunday Swap do well. We'll actually pull that up and see where they're at right now. But all the additional dApps on Cardano will be able to be built essentially at that point. So once we finally see that. So taking a look at the latest update, looks like July, they're just going through reward structures, what they're distributing, the time frames, which is good to see because I'd still like to see when the initial stake pool is coming out, and they haven't really quite given us a date. So we're excited to offer the ISO. But they still don't have a date. So hopefully we get a date on when the ISO is happening, because that's something that I think everyone is interested in knowing exactly when they can go ahead and stake their ADA for some Sunday. One thing that hasn't changed is the last update is we're still planning to run independent SPOs run on our pools. This helps achieve our goal and not take any rewards, including the 3040 ADA granted to the SPO. So I guess it costs 340 ADA granted to. We'll have to double check that, but that seems like a good chunk of ADA that I don't want to lose. But we'll talk about it. Looking at controlling whales, which is really good, which is something that I really like about the Cardano system, is there's a lot of people that are super bullish about it, but not a lot of whales, which is super good, super healthy for the system. We constantly see Bitcoin whales moving the market, so it's nice to see that, you know, ADA doesn't have many giant holders. And then minimum ADA, so there's still a minimum of 10 ADA required. So. Do I have a ledger? Yes, I do. So where is it? Because I know I had it out. Yeah. So I have the ledger S, and I'm buying the X. Now I got the S mainly to hold just a couple of tokens. So I have Ethereum, Bitcoin, and XRP on this ledger, and I just keep that on the ledger. Now I also want to buy an X because it allows you to basically have any token. Well, most tokens that ledger supports. And there's ways that you can stake those tokens through your ledger, and it's a lot safer, so you can still earn a yield, for example, via your ledger. So, yeah, I have a Ledger. I love Ledger. Ledger's a good company. I haven't really tried any other hard wallets like Tezor, but I've heard that they're really good. The one critique that I have from Ledger is the hack that happened recently. They lost all of their user data of anyone that bought. It was because their like the merchant that they were going through to facilitate their sales. Basically all of their data, emails, names, and phone numbers and addresses were leaked onto the dark web. So people had all these people that obviously had crypto because they had ledgers. Ledger video in the future? Yeah, we can do a Ledger video. Whether we can do like a review on the X when I get it, maybe I'll just go order the X and do a review. But I think it's good to have a Ledger and to keep a healthy amount on there. Because again, if you look at I hate being on this hill. But listen. This U.S. dollar is not going to stand. But if you believe that the U.S. dollar is eventually going to crash, if you believe in financial destabilization, then having a ledger is going to be important. The government has traditionally been able to take away things from you. They've been able to recover Bitcoin. They've been able to do certain things. They've been taking gold from people for decades, right? This is not new for the government to seize people's property. So yes, having a good healthy chunk of Bitcoin and some of your top cryptocurrencies on a ledger just for an oh crap moment, right? And shit's hit the fan. What are you going to do? At least you have this, right? It's as good as gold. So really, honestly, get a ledger, keep it, just tuck it away. Don't let anyone know where it is. What I do is I separate the keys. So I have half the keys put in one place, half the keys put in another place in a totally different location, not even in the same place. So if anything happens that I need to recover the ledger, I have to go to both places to get it. I don't even trust a bank deposit box. I'm not even going to go there. There's no way that I'm going to drop a ledger in a bank deposit box. But at least if I lose the ledger and I still have the passphrase, then I can recover it. Or if the ledger's stolen, they can't get into it, but I have the passphrase, so I can go ahead and recover it, take my funds off because that ledger is now compromised, and move it onto a new ledger. So it's definitely something to own. I think every crypto holder should have a ledger and have a good healthy amount of Bitcoin and some of their top holdings on it. Absolutely. And whenever you can stake on your ledger, yeah, just do that. What about SafePal S1? I'm not quite sure what that is. We can take a look, but I don't know. Let me just search that up off screen. Safe. Oh, I see. Is this oh, interesting. Let me bring this up screen here. So I have the Amazon link here. So I'm looking at Amazon specifically. Let's SafePal S1. Let's see if we can get the website. Not quite. There we go. So I haven't heard about these guys, but let's take a look because the more the merrier, really. I like that they sell the ciphers, right? Because that's one thing that I'd like to do. I'd like to put my passphrases on titanium plates, and obviously do the same tactic, separate half and half in two different locations. But titanium plates would be safe from fire damage, right? So. I don't want to end up being like that guy searching the garbage for a thumb drive or a hard drive or anything, losing a bunch of Bitcoin. They have a big backing, so yeah, I'd say that they're probably good. I just have never tried them before. They'd be interesting to buy because they're not all that expensive, which is cool. So maybe I will buy one and review it because that'd be interesting. Huh. Yeah, even like a combo safe cipher and a combo is about $100, so that's it's not a bad price. So I'd check that out. I would definitely look into that a little bit more. Powered by Binance. Interesting. Can you stake your wallet offline? I don't know the specifics behind it because I don't stake from my ledger for my Polkadot. But yeah. I know that you can, but I think it just depends on the crypto. So yes, I think it's online. I think. I don't think it needs to be connected in any way to the network. I think it just needs access to the keys. Did you read about the Thor blockchain hack? No, I didn't. But let's see if I can get some news on that while I'm checking out the other comments. Yeah, powered by Binance. That's pretty good. Binance is in some heat lately, eh? Binance is obviously bringing on a bunch of regulators, but yeah, Binance is in a lot of heat. Let's see. Another DeFi hack. So we have the Thor chain was compromised at $7.6 million was stolen. So in addition, the network is due to auto solvency checker move. Oh, wow. Okay. So they're going to, okay, so recovery plan in motion, release a patch to restart the network. They're going to restart the network to before the hack and restore the solvency. Okay, I don't know how I feel about that. So Ethereum had to do a similar thing way back in the day. I don't know if anyone remembers, and I could even be remembering this incorrectly. But I feel that there was a big discussion over whether or not, was this why Ethereum Classic branched? I can't remember. God. Really stretching my memory on this one. But there was a hack in Ethereum days, and I can't remember exactly what they did. But the discussion was, why reset the system? The hackers stole the money. In real life, you can't reset the system. Why should you reset the system now? Is it even fair to reset the system just because of one hack? So it's an interesting discussion. But I don't know if that's exactly what they're saying. But, upon execution, the hackers paid a huge slip fee. $1.4 million of slippage captured by nodes. So slippage, of course, is when you're trading the price between the move. That would be slippage. So ultimately, they paid 1.4 million just to get everything off. But what they took 7.6 million. Yeah. So that's a lot of money. That's what happens. And shortly after, they've been dumping. So let's take a look at the chart then, because that's interesting to see what happens. And this is a lot of what happens when you get a lot of hacks or rug pulls or anything. You end up getting a pretty big volatile swing to the downside. And now, if it's a good project, obviously it still could go lower, but it might be some nice entry points if you're bullish on the project. But at this point, I don't really go into many things that get compromised like that. And I also, I'm not sure how I feel about resetting back to before solvency. And I'm not sure many people would agree with that either. Yeah, it looks like it's about to 4.62. Now, to talk about resetting, for example, when you look at Binance or Bitcoin, not Binance, screw Binance. When you talk about Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin's stolen, nobody resets Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin doesn't change. Bitcoin is always the same. It's always been. It's always this thing, right? And that's what makes Bitcoin so valuable long term, because it's not going to change, because it's not going to change. Regardless of if people steal Bitcoin. If people steal US dollars, you can't just reset the dollars. I mean, I guess in the bank, if it's some sort of bank, transfer out, sure, there you can reset the dollars. But if you are talking about cash money, somebody takes money from a bank, you don't just bring that money back in, boys. Everything's okay. That's not how it goes. And with Bitcoin, it's the same deal. People steal Bitcoin, and the authorities recover Bitcoin. That's how this works. That's how currency works. People are going to steal, and then we recover. And that's just how it is. So, yeah, screw Binance. I mean, we're in Ontario, so obviously our Binance feelings were a little hurt. I feel like Binance is just in some regulatory trouble, because if we look here, I've been seeing this all week, but all week we've been hearing about Binance regulations, and I think they're in some hot water in terms of the regulations, because they've increased the team. Where are we looking? Yeah, so there was one article about Visa, Mastercard partnering with Binance, even though they've been slipping on regulations and had to dip out of a few areas. They dipped out of Ontario, or they're dipping out of Ontario, and they also said made mention of another place. I just can't remember it. So I don't know. I think Binance is probably dealing with some regulatory issues in the background, and that's probably initiating a lot of its moves. I'm hoping that a lot of other exchanges don't follow suit. I haven't heard of any other exchanges following suit. Like, for example, if you look at Kraken, I'm with Kraken. Kraken's probably going to turn into my main exchange. So I'm absolutely fine with that, to be honest. And yeah, it is what it is in terms of that. Kraken has probably the second most what tokens that you would need. I also use KuCoin. KuCoin's not giving me any issues, and they're an Asian-based exchange. I think Singapore or something. So there are options outside of Binance. Of course, we all love Binance, but hey, if they're dealing with some problems, I don't want to be there anyway. I'll see you when everything's flushed out and we can bring Ontario back. But of course, like, it's not only Binance, it's also the OSC, the Ontario Securities Commission, that's causing a lot of issues there. We're going to come up to time soon, but I'm going to give everyone a shot here. If you guys do want to ask a question in Discord, go ahead and jump into the Discord and hop into the waiting room. We'll move you in. But just go down into the description there, join that Discord, and hop in if you'd like to ask a question. But yeah, for now, in terms of Ontario, I'm definitely moving to Kraken as my main exchange. So I think I've been kind of leaning towards that, and I don't hold much on Binance anyway. But the one thing that does suck is the BSC. I'm gonna have to find a bridge into the BSC, but you know, they had a good idea, but it needs. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they. Well, I don't know if they. So I think they moved too fast, but didn't pay enough attention to the regulatory framework that was happening. And obviously the regulators are the problem, right? I'm obviously going to blame the regulators first. But Binance definitely took on way more than they could chew at one time. And that's why they're kind of playing catch up right now with regulations. And the same story could probably be said about Tether and all that Tether FUD that happened. A lot of that was probably because Tether didn't look that hard enough at what was like regulatorily required for them to operate. So. Bitcoin is up a little bit. It's back up. Well, it's actually up to when we started the stream. So 31,748. Obviously, we're going to see Bitcoin retest. We could see it bounce off of the 50-week or go down below the 50-week. If it does go down below, it's a great buying opportunity. Amazing buying opportunity. I don't think we'll see another one in years. Something to this degree. So if it does go, then do that. So DeFi is definitely like one of the main focuses as well. I'm probably going to think about moving more of my funds into DeFi and start kind of focusing in on that as well. But I buy a lot of tokens, so it's hard when I can't always get them. But, you know, I suppose loading them up in my MetaMask and then moving them to a Ledger wallet isn't all that hard. So that might be the direction that I go as well, and just start going through and doing that. So either way, the decentralized future, right? We have to get used to not trusting central entities. And also, what is it? We have Akala. So the KSM exchange. I think it's what is it? It's not Akala. It's Karora. That's it. Karora. Karora. KSM. So with something like this. With this exchange specifically, something like this has what's called a KYC wallet. As in, like, you can tokenize your KYC and like your license and everything within your wallet and sign on the withdrawals, which is normally the KYC regulations, which means that they're not holding your KYC. They're not holding anything. They don't have anything there. You're verifying it all with whatever wallet you're using, whether you're using a Ledger or whether you're using some sort of hot wallet, whatever it is, you're verifying it all through that. So you have your data, not the DEX. So when you come out of the DEX, you're providing the KYC to verify the transaction. That way they're legislatively compliant and a decentralized exchange. That is crazy. That's super bullish. That's where we're going to go. So when you think of one day trading stocks decentralized, we're going to need KYC. Know your customer, obviously. Know your customer in AML, anti-money laundering, and anti-terrorism laws. Obviously, we want to make sure that the money is not used for criminal activities, or we'd hope not. So all of those laws kind of apply. But we'll go ahead and we'll look at wrapping it up. We'll go through a quick cycle of the market and some of the altcoins up here, what the current prices are. We're still sitting at $1.3 trillion. Cardano is sitting at 118, XRP 58 cents. Polkadot is at $12, a great buy for Polkadot, I feel. Then it goes down to a slew of other tokens. Even Polygon Matic is at a good buy. It's been at a pretty big decline. But of course, as Bitcoin goes down further, all of these prices can go lower. Theta sitting at $4.39. Just remember, just a little while ago, Theta was sitting at $14. So a huge drop for Theta. Definitely a time to pick up some Theta and add to maybe your staking node or whatever it is. Aave is also probably a good entry. Aave is something that I've wanted to enter for a while, so I've been DCing a little bit into Aave, trying to build a little bit of a bag, and I'm using the Aave system on the Polygon network, the Matic network, and that's been pretty nice to play with. Then we have Pancake sitting at $12, which is actually a healthy amount of value for Pancake Swap, not gonna lie. But I've been using Pancake Swap and shuffling my money in there, HBAR has actually been jumping over the last little while, up 6% in the 7-day, and it's held pretty well over this downturn. So HBAR holders have done pretty well during all of this. We have KSM at 180 approximately, and I think KSM, obviously you guys know how I feel about KSM. KSM is a steal at these prices. T-Fuel as well. I know this is something that's been shilled a couple of times, and I really should get into it. And also, there's the staking mechanism for T-Fuel. So maybe now is the time to get into some T-Fuel. But that's it for me, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap her up. If there's nothing else, I hope everyone is enjoying their Saturday. I hope everyone gets through this gloomy weekend. But at the same time, look at this market as buying opportunities and take advantage of these low prices, because we might not, if we go down below the 50-week, we might not see prices like this quite ever again. So you see a couple of times we've seen this dip, and this is obviously where we went below the 50-week, and we went below the 50-week as well here. Obviously, this is our Corona spike. Here is more of a natural drop down below the 50-week because of the end of the bull market. But, unless we get another anomaly like this, knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't happen, we will most likely never see prices get this low or this much of a buying opportunity until a later period in another cycle. But that's it for me, guys. Hopefully everyone's enjoying, and I will look into Shiba by next Wednesday, I promise.